Good afternoon. Thank you, Gilbert. My name is Arjan Haverhals, CEO of Milestone Scientific, and thank you for making your time available to listen to this presentation. Prior to start the presentation, I would like to mention the safe harbor statement. I see that my cursor, yes, there we go. As we are a publicly listed company, we will not make any forward-looking statements during this presentation. So please take a couple of seconds to make yourself acquainted with the content of this. So Milestone Scientific is a leader developer in computerized drug delivery. In a way, we have invented the space of computer-controlled injection technology. After being successful in the dental business, we decided to also enter the medical business. And the fundament of our technology is what we call dynamic pressure sensing technology. And what we are doing and what that allows us to do is to inject any drug below the patient's pain threshold. And we are doing that by continuously controlling the flow of the injection by measuring any pressure changes at the tip of the needle. So after being successful in the dental market, we decided to enter the medical market, and then in particular, the epidural market. In the dental market, we have more than 20,000 units installed worldwide. We have performed more than 90 million injections with our technology over the years. And we entered the medical market, not only based on the size of the market, but more related to the fact that we felt and we believed that we could solve the problems that are associated in epidural procedures, in particular during labor and delivery. Morbidity rates in these procedures are reported to be in the range of 4.5% to 5%, and we have shown in clinical trials that we can reduce those morbidity rates tremendously, close to 0%, which is then reducement and a reduction of cost for the healthcare industry and for the institutions and hospitals. So that is an important element. We reduce the morbidity, we increase the safety of the patient, and we increase the efficiency. And the way we are doing that is actually what you see here is what we are doing with our technology is replacing a technology that is originated from 1860. So we are in a way competing with the hypodermic syringe that was invented in 1860 and was later also introduced as a loss of resistance technique, where the clinician feels the pressure against his thumb when he advances the plunger in the syringe and the needle moving forward into the patient. So our vision is really to bring drug delivery of the 1900s to the 21st century. The way the technology is working is as follows. Every tissue in the human body has a characteristic pressure sensing and a pressure signature. So in other words, by applying our technology, you are able to differentiate between, fatty tissues, high density tissues, low density tissues, and also the epidural space. And I will explain to you how the procedure is performed. What you see here, a patient is lying on the back. The epidural needle is placed at the back of the patient. And the needle is advanced to enter the epidural space. Now, what normally happens is that the clinician feels the pressure against his thumb, like I said, when he is advancing the needle into the epidural space. With our technology, he has an instant pressure feedback through our instrument that I will show you later, and through the use of our consumables. So in other words, if he has a higher pressure and the pressure is dropping, and you see that on the monitor of our instrument, you know for 100% sure that you are in the epidural space. If you would use the current available technology, being the hypodermic syringe out of 1860, you would not know for sure whether the loss of resistance that you measure against your thumb is really confirming whether you are in the epidural space, because then it would mean that you are still in fatty tissues. You would inject the drug, but there would be no pain relief or whatsoever for the patient. So we move away from a very subjective way of administering and placing the needle in the epidural space to a very objective way by introducing our technology. That is very important because all the associated risk factors occur when the needle is, for example, advanced further. It will hit the membrane. That will result in breaching a membrane, in leakage of cerebrospinal fluid in the epidural space, which causes these severe adverse events, which are migraine, paralysis, permanent paralysis, transient paralysis, or even mortality. Those associated risk factors are expressed in 5% of all the procedures performed. I also would like to stress that all these procedures are associated with 17% false loss of resistance results. So in other words, the drug is not administered efficiently into the patient. So by using our technology, all these associated risk factors can be reduced, and that will also result in a tremendous cost saving for the hospital. So the first important message is, yes, we can reduce the morbidity rates. And in an independent study performed at the University Texas Medical Branch in Galveston, where they compared 4,483 data points from patients, it was resulted and concluded in that study that on average $504 of cost savings could be obtained when our technology was going to be used compared to the hypodermic syringe or the loss of resistance technique. To magnify that number even more so, in this hospital, 12,000 epidural procedures are performed on an annual basis. So that will also mean a potential cost saving of $6 million for the hospital. One cost reduction factor is reducing the morbidity rates. We have also shown in a study with residents, normally it takes about up to 2 years for residents becoming an anesthesiologist to become profound and confident with the loss of resistance technique. By using our technology, those 2 years can be reduced to 2 days or 2 procedures. So we have also conducted studies and concluded in those studies that it is more than 99% effective on the first attempt. In other words, by reducing the training cycle and the education cycle, shortening that tremendously, you can save a lot of education and training costs, again, for teaching hospitals. The third important cost reduction factor is the avoidance of any litigation costs, which is on average about $300,000 in the United States. We have 2 products that I've just presented, which is the CompuFlow. You see the instrument. So our business model is a razor blade business model. So we sell the capital equipment, as you see on this slide, which is the instrument. We sell that at a price in the United States to the hospitals between $10,000 and $15,000. The list price is $25,000, but it also comes with a disposable that we use to inject saline through the tubing, and then also entering that liquid entering the epidural space to make it possible for us to measure any pressure changes. So the disposables are price dependent on when the hospital is buying the equipment or lending or lease financing the equipment. The disposables are in a range of $65 to $85 as an end user to the hospital price. And why is that important? We believe that with this technology that we can become the standard of care. In the United States alone, about 4 million births, 2.4 million epidural procedures are performed. And when we believe that we can become the standard of care, which is then the equivalent, for example, of 2 million procedures in association with a high profit margin on the consumables of more than 60%, that would result in a net profit of $80 million for the company on an annual basis on the consumables alone. So that is one part of our portfolio. Then we also have added another part and two other products in our portfolio called CompuWaif and CastCheck. And you see that on this monitor where the arrow is located, you see a pulsatile waveform. It is known from medical literature that the epidural space has a pulsatile waveform. We have been able with our technology and also with software development to actually visualize the pulsatile waveform when the needle is placed in the epidural space correctly. So it is an extra verification when you see a pulsatile waveform that in spite of or in addition to the pressure drop, that we can also verify the needle placement by looking and visualizing the pulsatile waveform. We have also used that technology in the application for another set of consumables called CastCheck. What normally happens after a labor and delivery procedure, the woman, the catheter stays in place at the patient, so in the woman is put on a gurney, but 40% of the women remain in pain after labor and delivery. Epidural analgesia as well. So the catheter is connected to a pump. The pump is continuously injecting then or administering the drug to give pain relief to the patient. Now, the woman is put on a gurney, put back on the gurney, transported to her room with the risk that the catheter is dislodged or displaced. So when a woman is still in pain, it can be two reasons. Either there is not enough drug available, or two, the catheter is out of place. And if you would imagine that you would connect a new set of tubing, a consumable, to the catheter, connect it to our instrument, and you would be able to see the pulsatile waveform within a minute to 2 minutes, that is a tremendous advantage. Today, the clinician with the older technology, they would do a bolus injection, wait for pain relief, have to wait for 40 minutes. So in other words, reducing 40 minutes to 1 to 2 minutes with our technology is a tremendous advancement. Not only because you take away the stress of the patient, you also take away the stress of the clinician, you take away the stress from an economy point of view for the hospital, because every time saving is immediately then translated in an increase in efficiency and reducing the cost there again. So why are these products important? It is important because, like I said, we believe that we can become the standard of care. We have 9 peer-reviewed publications in well-known international journals. We have clinical proof of concept. The product is FDA approved as well as CE mark approved. In the United States, we have a direct sales team. Internationally, we have a distributor network. So we have 2 business areas, one dental, one medical. I highlighted the medical business. We do not have a distribution network for the medical business in China yet, but we have a long-term existence in the Chinese market, in particular for our dental business. So all in all, what I present here for you is the dynamic pressure sensing technology that makes it possible to improve healthcare outcome at reduced cost. As you probably have seen, and I also have read about our company is financially in a very healthy situation. By the end of the quarter, we have about almost $17 million cash at hand. And that allows us, of course, to make the right choices and the right investments. So currently, what we are doing is using those investments in further growing the dental business. As you probably have read, we were enjoying a 61% revenue growth in the first quarter this year compared to the same quarter in previous year. We see an uptake in the dental business. We welcome the revenues of the medical business. We are very careful and cost conscious not to burn too much cash, of course. And as we speak, we are now expanding in further growing the medical and dental business by taking the right marketing and sales initiatives and investments. So we are aggressively expanding in our sales force in the United States, and also are aggressively expanding and looking at opportunities to expand into our distribution network in the international markets. And also, in spite of investments in marketing and sales, we also look into other areas for our research and development. So I mentioned already the CastCheck to you. The thoracic indication is of course important. It is approved in Europe. We are working on submission also for the FDA for the US market. What is an important feature is that our company, it's not a typical dental nor a typical epidural market. Wherever the hypodermic syringe is used, our technology could apply. So that's the reason why we also are looking into potential investments in peripheral nerve block, also where our technology can be used. We have confirmation from clinical research that our technology actually can differentiate between intra and extraneural positioning of the needle, which is important. Global market is 41 million procedures on an annual basis. The methodology can be used in intra-articular, so in particular for injections in the joints on the wrist or the shoulder on the elbow, and applications in cosmetic medicine, and then in particular the administration of botulinum toxin A or Botox for cosmetic injections in dermatology clinics or private clinics. So that was exactly the overall presentation that I wanted to give on the company. We do not foresee to raise any capital in the next coming 18 months or longer. We are well equipped, financial, healthy, and I thank you for your attention, and I open it now for any questions.
Thank you. I believe your colleague Tom Chan is also here in the Q&A session too to join. And the first question from Anchor here is how does this compare to the ultrasound guided needle techniques?
Yes, so ultrasound guidance is not a comparison to what we are doing is we guide the whole trajectory. If you enter the needle in the epidural space, you get an instant real-time feedback. Ultrasound is at the end when the needle is already in the epidural space and you would like to have placement verification. What is important in epidural injections for labor and delivery, any other technique might be contraindicated like X-ray because it can harm the fetus.
Okay, it's Frieder. The next question is coming from is that, would you say now marketing your product rollout will be the key to your growth to success?
Yeah, so we have a number of hospitals that are already using our technology, and then also in combination with COVID going away, that has justified for us to increase the marketing and sales activities, expanding on the sales force, and then further create and increase the penetration at the hospitals, both in the US and then through our distributor network international as well.
So here's the last question. It's from Duke Xu from the Chinese side. He's asking, your price has been performing quite well in the past 2 years. What are the main reasons behind that jump?
Yeah, so there are 3 reasons. If you look 2 months ago, the share price was about $4.80. One reason is that the microcap market on the stock exchange has been under tremendous pressure, so we are not alone. Secondly, I told you about the $70 million cash at hand. What we did also, there was the exercise of warrants and options, and that of course, further declined in a way the share price. But at the same time, if you look at it from a positive angle, is that we had an additional $4 million coming to our company and increased in our cash situation. Another issue that has occurred in the marketplace is that there are more specs have been brought to the Russell 2000. As a result, Russell 2000 increased their barrier to a market cap of, I think, $276 million. And that resulted that we were going to be removed from the Russell. And that is also an additional effect why the share price dropped.
So thank you, Arjan, for sharing your latest update of Milestone Scientific here with us.
Thank you so much. And thank you for your time. And if you need more information, please visit our website at www.milestonescientific.com. So thank you and good luck with the conference.